not because of judges and prosecutors, but the law says that use of force is that I can shoot you based on how I feel.
We have to rewrite law. Like, why is nobody, you know what we should be talking about right now? Ratifying the 13th Amendment.
But I was getting ready to say.
Like, nobody
the
on this
13th
panel,
Amendment, exactly.
Nobody on this panel would have an argument saying slavery should be illegal.
Right.
The 13th Amendment gives the greatest incentive to lock us up than anything in the United States Constitution. Nobody, not me, not Candace, not Tip, none of us have said at any point, you know the one thing we can rally around, let's get the 13th Amendment amended.
And the Fifth Amendment says that we are still 3/5 human. So the entire Constitution right now has areas in it that still applies to us as being slaves.
So speaking of constitutional shit that happens, we know that there's going to be redistricting in a census that happens next year.
It's going to be what?
And on the other side, redistricting that's based on the census that happens next year. Black folks are already being tricked about showing up, not showing up, giving information to census counters, not doing it, how we're engaged in that process. So before we open this up, because we've talked about a number of things, I want to know how important, especially around this issue of gerrymandering, is the census, and what do we need to be talking about, because this gerrymandering piece is the party piece. So I'd love to hear, Candace, from you on this issue of redistricting and the census. And then, Tip, I'd love to hear from you, and then I want to open the floor to you all to be able to engage this panel.
Well, I'm going to bring it back to what I said earlier. I think if you want to talk about a foreign threat to our election process, we shouldn't be talking about Russia. We should be talking about illegal immigration, because the census, let me finish my thought, the census that is conducted, they don't ask if you're a U.S. citizen. So when they figure out the districts and how many votes you get electorally, they're including illegal immigrants that are not American citizens.
So Candace,
people are giving more electoral votes.
Despite what's wrong with it, it's going to happen, correct?
Well, no, actually, there's a great organization called Judicial Watch run by Tom Fitton, and they're fighting it.
But as of now, it is going to happen.
Well, no, what I'm saying is that
as of now, the census is going to happen. There has not yet been a law change that is going to change it.
Yeah, that's correct.
And if it does happen, which is scheduled to, it is going to impact people in here that look like this based on redistricting, correct?
It impacts everybody. It's not just black people.
We are talking to this audience.
No, I know. I'm just making, I want to be as clear, because not everything, and gerrymandering would be one thing, is a black or white issue. This is not something that's a black or white issue. It's an American issue. And I think it's important that at times where we can stop making everything black versus white, and we can actually talk about things that are impacting America, that we just do it.
But
Like,
Candace,
I think
you keep
it's okay.
talking about everything wrong with black people.
Well, we're not here, but Jeff.
You have started and led with everything
I'm saying regarding
wrong with black people.
gerrymandering, I don't think that's a black or white issue. I really don't. So that's my answer.
The issue is that it may not be a black or white issue, but it's absolutely a black issue for us, right? So this room wants to know how, your question I'm hearing is how the census count impacts our people.
And what we can do to ensure that it impacts us positively.
I think with the quick points are that, number one, there is a narrative that has been basically created by propaganda that tells you that we shouldn't be counted. That when people come to your door to count you, you may be arrested, and all of these different fear-mongering tactics that is going to try to keep us from participating in the census. The danger of that is that what comes out of the census is how resources are distributed in your local community. So not participating in the census is not going to be the boogeyman strategy for everyone else. I think Candace's point is right, that it becomes the black or white issue when the resources go to the white community because they have convinced us that we should not do the work in our communities. The reality is that no one is going to suppress or try to suppress a vote or a count if they don't understand the power of it. So anything that people are telling you should not participate in, especially folks from what we consider to be the other side, when they are trying to tell you that you should not participate in something, you always have to question, why is it that white folks are getting counted in their communities, that they are voting in the ways in which they should, and our communities are being told not to participate?
Because the illegals are flooding the black community.
The illegals are
all right, you all. So I want to hear from you all.
I don't agree with that.
I want to hear from you all. We got a mic right here. And we've got folks coming to ask questions, and we got a long line. So if you can ask your question as quickly as possible so we can get as many in.
CEO of the Tulsa Real Estate Fund.
Can't hear.
Honorable Malcolm X said, "We suffer from political oppression economic exploitation and social degradation. I believe for us to end our political oppression, we need political unity. This is a healthy debate, but I think we're approaching it too micro and not enough macro. I believe if we're going to unify, we got to unify first around nationality. So my question is, Tip knows this. We spoke about it in your race outside my office. Tamika knows this. We spoke about this for years. Puff, we want to bring this to you. We need a black vote day. Not a vote day about Democrat or Republican. We need to vote about who we are as a people. Are we Africans in America? Are we Pan-Africans? Are we Moors? Are we Nation of Islam? Who is our nationality? What is our flag? What is our constitution? What are our bylaws? What are our values? And so what I'm saying to the panel is us as leaders, can we be that intentional, Mike, about burning down both the master's houses, focusing on our own house, galvanizing all of our leaders in one place at one time to vote on our nationality, our flag, our values, and have a black vote day in real life? Can we do that?
I think it would be helpful. I do. I mean, because I think there's a lot of conversation right now around reparations and so on and so forth, but as I have been enlightened by Brother Jay Morrison, we can't get reparations because we haven't been officially classified as a nationality. African American is not a nationality. Black is not a nationality. So you can't give reparations to people who don't have an official nationality, a flag, a constitution, and you have a seat at the UN. You know what I'm saying? And also, so when people ask me about reparations, I'm like, well, that's kind of putting the cart before the horse. So I understand the importance of that, but I also think that it has to be detailed instructions, line items, step by step of how to achieve this goal, so you will know exactly what you're asking people to do.
Thank you, brother. Brother, we got a long line, but let me get as many questions as I can. Thank you, brother.
How y'all doing? My question is for Killer Mike, all right? My name's Brendan Robinson. I'm from Detroit, Michigan. I have a art brokerage company where we represent wall artists all over, DeKalb, Fulton County. I just got invited to a District 9 PTA vendor event on Tuesday. Now, this same district is equal to the same district in California as far as the medium, as far as money that comes in the income for our families, right? But when I come to DeKalb or where I come to Fulton, they say, hey, your brand is too rich for us. Our kids don't need these murals. Our kids don't need the scores to be up. Our kids don't need. So it forces my business as a black entrepreneur to go out there to District 9, and it's like, it's no love for the entrepreneurship within the school system to even get them one-to-one with their technology. I'm talking to principals that's 5-to-1. I'm telling them I'm gonna give them 10% back.
So let me get your question, brother. Let me get
So,
your question.
so I'm giving them 10% back. So I'm just trying to figure out, why is it that it seems like the white community adapts to what my company does more so than the black counties in Atlanta?
Well, I don't have those answers. I don't know the specifics, but what I do know is that enough pressure will bust a pipe. And if you are truly bringing a resource to the community that's good, keep applying the pressure. I know Michael Thurman is the CEO out there. I know they have a black superintendent out there who's planning on retiring soon. So keep putting on the pressure. I don't know the specifics to give an answer, but what I do know is that black politicians and white politicians are all politicians, and politicians respond to money or the will of the people by way of the vote, and that's the way to put pressure. To bring money into, take money out of, or apply the pressure of the constituents when you're applying the vote. That's what I do know.
Thank you. Next question.
Hey, what's going on? How y'all doing, man? P. Diddy, appreciate you for this event, man. This shit is lit. I love all this culture talk. But Tip, my question for you, OG, all I do is it cool. You know what I'm saying? I just got a question. I was talking to Molly in the studio, and I was asking her, like, man, I was asking, like, how should I come and talk to Tip, knowing that he's my idol, and ask a question? Because I know you got all artists coming at you. My question would be, what would you say to an artist that's trying to approach you, that look up to you, what to say to you? You dig what I'm saying?
I'm sorry. I was listening.
I got you. I was listening to it.
Candace.
I would listen to it.
Okay.
I would say, honestly, Tip actually be on his Instagram. I would send a picture of me at the conference with my SoundCloud, and I'm pretty sure he'll listen to it.
Okay.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah.
So real quick, you all hold up. There have been 3 straight brothers that have asked a question. Can we get some sisters? We've had 3 straight brothers that have asked questions. So I want to make sure that we balancing this out.
Good afternoon. I want to first of all say
We got a sister speaking. Let's bring the volume down. We got a sister speaking.
Thank you.
Thank you guys so much. Thank you guys so much.
First of all, I want to say thank you to everyone and what you left here today, because what we're really talking about is the unfinished business of the civil rights movement. And we all stand on those shoulders. And none of that work happens without vigorous rigor of lively debate. It's how it all gets solved. So my name is Gia Compton. I'm from Atlanta, Hightower and Baker Road. You know about that. And I'm a consulting producer on a documentary from Kite Flyer Productions, who did The Defiant ones for HBO. And my question is for Tip, because I want to bring it back to the head. You said early on this evening that the things that we're talking about seem to be separate, but they really are not. They are related. And I think it's important for us to maybe begin to end out the evening talking about how we bring these things back to the relevancy of Atlanta and local politics.
Thank you.
Well, okay, so first of all, when we start to speak about politics, the first thing I want to make sure everybody understands about Tip. In my eyes, it's not about Republican, it's not about Democrat, it's about decent people who have a genuine interest to fulfill the need of the people that look like me. You know what I'm saying? And that's how I feel. Like, if you know that the educational system is subpar in Atlanta or wherever it is, then okay, and I have children. My children go to school. I don't want the education system to be subpar. So I'm gonna vote on the person who has a strong education initiative, period. It's not about voting for people because I'm black and they're Democrat, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Candace, much to your dismay, that's not how I feel. That's not how I choose a candidate. I choose, for one, people who I feel are decent, 2, people who I feel are honest, 3, people who I feel are educated and who are experienced and who can actually follow through with doing the shit they stand on TV and say. But I think that everybody on this panel, all of you are brilliant. All of us have ideas that could benefit one another. And I think that what Mike said was absolutely correct. If we can get in a room, you know what I'm saying? I think Candace has a problem with the crowds cheering for me and booing to her, and that's not my fault. That's not my intention.
I didn't say that.
Yes, you did. You said I'm going for...
No, I said I don't like when you go for gotcha moments. Because,
gotcha moments.
Like
that
when
means...
you're like, oh, well, you started with some bullshit. Like, actually, let me get to what I was going to say, because what I was going to say is what Killer Mike said.
All right, well, okay, okay.
So when you're trying to just hype people and you actually we're all losing when you do something like that. Everybody loses when you go for a gotcha. I know how, if you want to hype a crowd, oh, it's bullshit, it's racism,
Candace,
it's
sister,
Trump, get on your
sister.
feet. Fuck this. We gotta stand up. We gotta do our shit. We gotta do what we gotta do.
Round of
with black
applause
people.
for Candace,
That's
please.
a waste of time.
Yo, real shit, you would have made a great fucking rapper.
I really would have.
Yo,
Yeah.
let me say, we got 1 minute though.
Oh, yeah.
Let me say this. Let me give people this charge before we get out of here. Your charge. Read the preamble. Read the United States Constitution, like I got high last night and read, right? Read it so you know what the fuck your rights are or not. And to Atlanta. Atlanta should be the prototype for Democratic and Republican black progression, because you have the economic means here. You have a school system where 50% or more are named for black educators and emancipators, yet you are not graduating 50% of your students. You have the ability, you have the third most Fortune 500 companies here. You have the most black restaurants and hookah lounges here. This is Wakanda, niggas. If you can't make Wakanda worked, then we will fail in Charlotte, we will fail in Jacksonville, we will fail in Tampa, we will fail in Detroit. So the answer is not with any one person on this stage.
Correct.
The answer is in each individual in this stage and in this room. After these cameras leave, after my nigga Diddy finish bopping through this motherfucker, get in your goddamn church meetings, get in your living rooms, get in your Masonic temples, organize, 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 organize. It is our job to get the fuck off both plantations. I don't care if it's the social democratic one. I don't care if it's the one owned by the goddamn casino owner. Get the fuck off them and build your own shit. Atlanta, if we do not do it, we are failing all of Black America. I love you and I appreciate y'all letting me talk.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's the last word. Please give a round of applause to Steve, to Candace, to T.I., to Killer Mike. You all, a photo?